Minnesota legislative session starts next week, and Governor Mark Dayton and legislative leaders are pledging to work together. Last year's session came to a close with bitter infighting and the governor's line item veto of funding for the legislature. So the whole gang answered questions for more than an hour yesterday, and they insisted they will find common ground in 2018. Oh, knock me over with a feather, WCCO Chief Political Reporter Pat Kessler.
They're going to work together.
Oh, it's the best.
Well, color me skeptical on that one. After all of the bitterness and chaos of the last year, it's not just that the session ended in some bitterness and bad feeling. Governor vetoed the legislative funding to allow the legislature to continue operating. There's been a lawsuit against Michelle Fischbach, the lieutenant governor, and state senator. This stuff has been going on for a year. They did put on a pretty good face yesterday that we all love each other, but behind the scenes, I know this to be true. They're not happy, and I don't know how this is going to start out. They do have really big issues. You mentioned the opioid crisis. I think they're going to deal with that. They're going to deal with driver's license registration. They're going to have to deal with that. And they're also going to deal with senior care. So there's some really, really big issues. But remember also, this is an election year, so everything's out the window.
Let's turn now to national politics. We know President Donald Trump's personal attorney, he said yesterday that he paid $130,000 out of his own pocket to porn actress Stormy Daniels, who allegedly had a sexual relationship with Trump. That was in 2006. Cohen said the payment was not a campaign contribution or an expenditure. This is kind of an unusual statement.
All right, nothing unusual here. Just move it along. I did it out of my own pocket for no reason. Michael Cohen, the president's lawyer, did not answer a couple of really key questions. Did President Trump know about it? Number two, was he reimbursed for this? There's a lot of questions as to whether this is perhaps a campaign crime. Let's all remember that the president, or the lawyer, I should say, Michael Cohen, paid this adult film actress $130,000 just before the election, when it appeared she was going to go public with her story of an affair. So what's interesting to me is not just that this happened. If this had happened to any previous president, Barack Obama, George Bush, can you imagine this would be the biggest story in the country?
Oh, it'd be crazy.
It's number 2, 3, 4, 5. In the country now. So, well, what has happened? Here's where we are.
The White House also facing questions. What is it, day 9 of Rob Porter conversation, accused of domestic abuse. And now maybe the bigger issue here is the issue of how are they vetting these folks who have access to incredibly secure and top secret information. Different stories from the FBI and the White House, of course. Right.
The FBI kind of threw the White House under the bus, said, hey, we did all the proper investigations. The White House has been caught in different stories every single day for the last few days. Can you believe what the White House is actually saying, how this happened? If there's a very high-level aide accused of what appears to be very serious domestic abuse and violence, as a matter of fact, why wasn't that flagged if it wasn't? Number two, why is that person still working there? So on the one hand, you have the White House telling many different stories about this. And on the other hand, this is all happening in there, and it appears again to be a White House in chaos. How do you move forward with that?
Oh, all right, Pat. Thank you. We'll see you at 5 and 6. I know, Pat, you are excited about this development.